What's going on, guys? It's Suk and I am back with a brand new video on Super Duper Tech. Now in today's video I will be bringing you my full and in-depth review of the 13-inch MacBook Air. Do subscribe to stay tuned in case Apple do announce any new MacBook Pros at WWDC this year, because I will be doing an unboxing, review, gaming test, benchmark test, the lot, as I do with all of my MacBooks. So again, subscribe to be notified when those videos get released. So without any further ado, let's hit the titles. So the first thing that I do want to get into talking about is the overall design and aesthetic appeal of the MacBook Air. Bordering the edge of the screen, there is a slightly raised black line. This black line serves two purposes. The first of these being that when the MacBook lid is closed, it creates some distance between the screen and the keyboard, and when the MacBook is placed in a laptop bag, it stops any lint or dust from getting between the screen or the keyboard. In terms of ports and connectivity, we do get exactly the same ports on the left hand side of the 13-inch model that we do with the 11-inch model. Now this being a MagSafe 2 connector to charge up the MacBook, as well as a USB 3.0 connector, a 3.5mm headphone jack, as well as dual stereo microphones. And over on the right hand side of the device, we do have a single Thunderbolt 2.0 port, which is capable of transferring data at 20 gigabits per second. We also have a single USB 3.0 port, which is capable of transferring data at 5 gigabits per second. And next to that, we do have an SDXC memory card slot. As you will see, the fan grills are hidden behind the hinge, just as it is with the 11-inch model. Now, I personally do not think that the fans in this MacBook do it any justice, as you will see further on in this review. Another area which I was impressed, just as I was with the 11-inch model, was with the keyboard. The backlight keyboard on this MacBook Air is as good as any other MacBook. Now the next thing that I do want to get into talking about happens to be around the actual power and processing capabilities of this 13-inch MacBook Air. I have created a separate video which compares the benchmark scores of the 11-inch to the 13-inch MacBook Air. Now you can click the card in the top right hand side of the video to go and check that out. My test did find that the actual processing capabilities of either of these machines were very comparable to each other, which again is to be expected as both of these machines are using the exact same processor. An area that the 13-inch MacBook Air did not excel at when compared to the 11-inch model was the graphical performance. Now this is to be expected, as the 13-inch model has to push out more power to power up more pixels. After playing Minecraft for around 10 minutes, the fans on this MacBook Air were spinning at a considerable speed. In fact, they were so noisy, I decided to pull out my decibel meter and test out how noisy they were. Now even at this range, I was still getting around 50 decibels. And then when I placed the decibel meter right next to it, I got approximately 70 decibels. I am briefly going to turn off the background music now so that you can get a feel as to how noisy these fans were. The next test that I did conduct was just to check how hot the overall chassis had become after playing one game of Minecraft. Now below the screen where the actual fan vents are, I was getting a reading of around 45 degrees, whereas on top of the keyboard I was getting close to 40 degrees. Another test that I did conduct was to test how loud the speakers on this 13-inch MacBook Air are. The video that I used to test out this was my iPad Pro review video. Now as you can tell, I had the decibel meter approximately 1 foot away from the MacBook. Now the reading that I did get was around 88 decibels, which is slightly louder than the 11-inch MacBook Air. The following test that I did conduct was to check how bright the screen on this MacBook Air is. Now when compared to the 11-inch model, which gave me a reading of around 234 lux. The 13-inch model gave off a score of 141. So you may want to keep this in mind if you are looking to purchase a MacBook Air. And this final test is simply to showcase what the webcam or the FaceTime HD camera in this MacBook Air is like. In all aspects, par the screen size, this 13-inch MacBook Air is almost identical in terms of specs and all its capabilities to the 11-inch model. If you are going to be away from a wall outlet for more than 7 hours and you really do need the extra hour and a half of battery life that the 13-inch model does offer you when compared to the 11-inch model, then of course I would tell you to go ahead and opt for the 13-inch model. And if you really do need the extra 2 inches of screen real estate, just in case you're watching any movies or you're doing anything that really does require a larger screen size, then of course go ahead and purchase the 13-inch model. With me, I would personally opt to go for the 11-inch model. This would allow me to also have a bit of spare change just in case I wanted to upgrade any aspects of the machine. So guys, that has been it for today's video. I do hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, then go ahead and hit that like button. If you are new around here, then subscribe. It is free after all and it won't cost you a thing, and you will be notified when I upload my next video. If you have got any queries or questions, go and hit me up over on Twitter. You'll find my details down below in the description section, or you can go and tweet me at SukhvinderD. Go ahead and add me up on Snapchat or follow me on Periscope for live behind the scenes coverage on anything that I do. Now you can click the annotation on screen or the card in the top right hand side of the video to go and check out my Mac Mini review. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.